I'm Alan Gratz, and you're watching Raider Media News.
Hello, I'm Kennedy.
Hey Kennedy, I'm Alan Gratz.
I'd like to thank you for taking time out of your day to visit with us.
Of course, my pleasure.
Can you tell us a little bit about your journey so far and what inspired you to become an author?
Sure. So I've known that I wanted to be a writer since I was a kid, and I think one of my earliest inspirations was not a book, but funny enough, a movie. So when I was 5 years old, there was a movie that came out in movie theaters that I loved, and it made me want to tell stories. You've probably never heard of this movie. It came out a long time before you were born, in 1977. It was called Star Wars. Oh wait, you've heard of it. Oh, of course you've heard of it. Yes, and I'm joking. I know that you've heard of it. I'm not joking though about how inspirational it was. Star Wars came out when I was a kid. It was a huge deal to me. I would go and see it in the movie theater over and over and over again. There was no Empire. There was no Return of the Jedi. There was none of all the other stuff, the Mandalorian, all that stuff. It was just that one movie. And I would come back home and I would go out in the backyard and I would pretend to be Han Solo or Luke Skywalker and have adventures. But I wasn't reliving the movie. I was making up my own stories about those characters. And really what I was doing was creating fan fiction. There wasn't a word for it back then, or if there was, I didn't know it. But I was making up stories about those characters and about that world. And that led to me creating my own worlds and my own characters eventually. But it was really Star Wars that first fired my imagination, and still love it today.
That's pretty awesome. How do you decide which historical events you want to cover?
So some of it is anniversaries, like I did Ground Zero for the 20-year anniversary of 9/11. I did Allies, which is a story of D-Day for the 75th anniversary of D-Day. Sometimes it's a person I meet, like meeting Jack Gruner and writing Prisoner B3087 about his ordeal in the Holocaust, or meeting a person that who was a kid on the island of Okinawa during the Battle of Okinawa and writing Grenade based on his experiences. Sometimes it is just something that I read in a book about World War II or hear about that takes me on a different path. Sometimes I had a plumber who was working in my house the other day and he asked me what I did, and I told him that I wrote books about World War II a lot, and he's like, "Oh, have you heard of this bear that served in World War II?" And I'm like, "What? No." And he told me this story, and I went and looked it up, and there was a bear that some Polish army unit had adopted and took into war with them, and the bear fought in Italy. It never got hurt, like it was with them all through the battles, and I wrote a book about it, and that book hasn't come out yet, but I just turned it in. So like, I get ideas from the weirdest of places, from people I meet, sometimes who've been through something, from books I'm reading, from podcasts I'm listening to, from magazines, and then sometimes randomly from people who enjoy learning about history the same way I do.
Huh. That's actually really cool.
Yeah, it's totally fun. And once you're a writer and your idea radar is on, you find ideas all over the place. It's pretty awesome.